peach capital steak, baby. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what's everybody up to? What's up, Classic Car Guy? What's up, Tulu TV? What's up, Dusty's Garage? I've been writing. Look, bam, yeah. Where's Drill Sergeant Cuddy when I need him? Titching on deck. Let's see how everybody's doing today. Let's see how everybody's doing. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today on this nice sunny day, Sunday? Tulu, I better see some content on your car this week. And the why I need to see it is because tomorrow's going to be like 67 degrees. Tuesday's going to be like 70. Wednesday's going to be like 70. I'm going to get some stuff primed. I'm going to prime these fenders. But I'm hoping to see some content. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be nice. I thought the client was coming to buy for the 70C10. He said he was coming about 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. Watch this, as soon as I start this, he's going to show up. But he told me he would let me know when he was coming. Let's give it a few minutes, see if everybody catches back up. And then we're going to have class. What's everybody working on today? I just got back from the store. I can't remember. I went to Walmart. I can't remember what that guy's name. What's up, everybody? We got 21 folks on here now. I don't know what that guy's name was the other night that was asking a bunch of questions. I don't remember his name. Does anybody remember his name? Is he on here? Is he on here? We're gonna wait 1 minute. What's up, Adventures? I want to get into painting, but I don't know how. You just gotta get reputable information. Like here, there's other YouTube channels, books. There's some books on Amazon. 80% of it is trial and error. 20% of it is getting educated in what you're using. So whatever you're using, you're gonna have to get educated on what you're using, but you're gonna have to get some kind of, you don't need a shop. That's what we're about to go over. All right, it's been 5 minutes. Just remember the privacy and the community standards in the chat. Abide by the rules. Respect everybody. And we won't have no issues. What's up, Bruce? Hope you're feeling better today. All right. So here we go. Let me see if I can. I should have done this before I went live. Y'all ain't gonna be able to see that. We're just gonna have to do it like this right here. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's a lot of information. So we're going to, I'm gonna try to, if I turn it around like this, you ain't gonna be able to see it, right? You ain't gonna be able to see it. So I'm just gonna do it like this right here. And these numbers are not today's standards. These are not today's prices. This is just for educational purposes to kind of let you know what we talked about the other night. There was a guy said that, he didn't know how much to charge and blah, blah, blah. So what this is kind to put it in perspective on how things work. Now, there's probably other ways you can do this. There's probably somebody smarter than me. There's probably somebody going to watch this video and go, you're a complete dumbass. That's not how it works. And that's okay. This right here was shown to me in a advanced PPG training class in Orlando, Florida. It was showed to me by Jeff Mayton, which is one of the best of the best, and Charlie Hutton. And they said, just keep it simple. So this right here is basically me keeping it simple. This is how I was explained. And I pretty much remembered all this from just memory. So let's go right here and I'm gonna show you. All right, so let's say that you have a garage. I'm not talking about a shop. I'm not talking about you're in business. You need to safeguard your stuff. Either get a DBA, do business alone, or go LLC. Limited liability corporation, that separates personal from business. So that separates your personal assets from your business assets, okay? So we won't get into all that, but I highly suggest it doesn't cost that much in the state of North Carolina. You have to follow some rules and get you limited liability corporation. All right. So this is the way this works. Say you got a work area that you're working in, and it's 1,000 square feet. Okay. How do you figure up square feet? Length times width. Okay. That's how you figure out square footage. Okay. All right. So whatever the width is and whatever the length is, okay? So whatever this number is, you multiply it times this number, and it gives you the square footage, okay? All right? So if you had a shop that was 36 this way, 1 tick mark means feet, 2 tick marks means inches, okay? All right, so if I put that right there, that's 1 inch. If I do that, that's 1 foot. Okay? That's how that works. All right? All right. Hey, it's not for everybody. It's all right. So you got length times width, right? So if you want to figure out how big your shop is, your garage, your basement, wherever you're working at, okay? People say, well, I don't have a shop, I got a garage. Well, it's still a shop I mean, you can call it whatever you want to. All right, so if you got 36 times 36, right? So if you do 36 times 36, then that's how you get your thing. So if we're just gonna make it even, so we go 30 times 40. So 4 times 3 is 12. Carry your 2 zeros, 1,200 square foot. All right, so that's how you figure up your space, okay? All right, so with that being said, whatever the bills are to keep this space running, water bill, power bill, taxes, everything, whatever it costs to keep the lights on, the power, the insurance, whatever it costs to keep that running, that's the number you need to know, okay? So we're just going to use an example. 1,000 square foot space costs about $2,000 a month to keep it running. You ain't done nothing, right? Right? You haven't done anything, right? Just to keep the building, just to keep your space that you need to work in, costs you $2,000 a month, okay? All right. Now, you take the square footage and you divide it by 2,000, that comes up to be $2 a square. So that means this is how every company does it. Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, grocery stores, each department pays rent on that section. So for example, Walmart, the meat department has an X amount of square footage. They have to pay lease to Walmart every month to have that spot. Houseware, dog food, sporting goods, beauty supply, healthcare, garden center. This is how the world works, right? All right. So it's $2 per square just to keep the building, just to keep the space. All right. So if you have a vehicle that is in your shop or in your garage or in your space and it is 10 foot by 10 foot, it's taking up that much space. For example, this box truck. Okay. This box truck is taking up a lot of real estate, right? Okay. So if you go 10 foot by 10 foot, just average, that's 100 square foot, okay? So you say 100 square foot times $2, that's $200 that this box is costing me to set in this spot. That means that this thing is taking up space. So that means if there's a vehicle in your shop, in your area, that you are not working on, it is costing you $200 a month for it to sit in that spot. That's why in the state of North Carolina, you can charge up to $150 a month for storage fee, all right? If it's inside, you can charge up to $150 for storage fee because it's costing you that because it's sitting in the spot, okay? This is what people don't understand. This is how a lot of cars, insurance cars, get totaled out because they sit in the yard, and if they're in a chain link fence behind a gate, you can charge up to $75 to $100 a month for storage. Well, if you do that 7 days, that's $700. If you do it another 7 days, that's $1,400. If you do it another 7 days, but after 10 days, there's an article in North Carolina, a general statute article, LT 260 form that you can fill out. And that's a whole nother thing. We're not getting into that, but this is how much space is costed by 10 by 10, okay? Now, say your shop rate is at $50 an hour, right? Shop rate. You charging $50 an hour and you say, well, I'm gonna put a master cylinder on this vehicle and it takes me 6 hours to do it or 5 hours, so that's $250. I made $250. No, you didn't. You didn't make $250. You sure didn't. You didn't make $250. So let me put it to you like this. So you got $50 an hour times one person. So let's say you got one tech, right? So you got one person working and it's $50 an hour, shop rate, times one person. That person worked an 8-hour day. That's $400 in labor, okay? All right. So Charlie Hutton told me, I said, how do you figure up consumables? Now this was years ago, so these numbers are outdated, but you can kind of see what it is. Now, So it's $400 a day in labor for 8 hours a day at $50 an hour. That's the shop rate, right? Okay, how do you charge for consumables? He says shop materials is 30% of the labor. Whatever that person used that day, sandpaper, grinding rocks, whatever, just consumables. This does not include paint and all that. This is just consumables, right? What they use that you can't get back. What is a consumable? Something that you can't get back, okay? 30% of the labor, right? So that's $120 in consumables, right? So now you got $400 in labor, you got $120 in consumables. 400 plus 120 is 520. All right, that's your bill. That's what you build out, okay? Now, that ain't what you made, that's what you build out, okay? This is what the shop billed out, the invoice. So now you take the $120, because that's not yours, because you have to pay for consumables, and we're going to get there in a second. You got $120 in consumables. You put that in your material jar, 120, okay? Now, you subtract 120 from 520, that leaves you 400, all right? So now we're back to $400 in labor. All right, now you got to pay the tech. You got to pay the person that's working. That's you or whoever. They got to be paid, okay? So if that person's making $20 an hour, one person works 8 hours a day, that's $160 a day in pay, okay? So you take that 160 and you minus it from 400. Now you're down to 240, all right? Right here. Shop's at 240, the tech's at 160, all right? Now, you got to pay taxes. The tech's got to pay taxes, and the shop's got to pay taxes. All right? So right here. So, right? So, you got $240 for the shop that made on this job, and the tech made $160. All right? Everybody with me so far? Now, there's 160 work hours in a month, Monday through Friday, 40-hour work week for one human being, right? Normal, 8 to 5. 160 hours divided by 2,000. That 2,000 is what keeps the shop running, the bills, right? On the billing cycle, right? You just divide 2,000 into 160. That comes up to be $12.50 per hour. So $12.50 per hour of the $50 rate pays the bill for 2,000. Y'all still with me? All right. Now, here we go. At $50 an hour is your rate. Subtract $12.50 for the bills, right? For the bills to pay your overhead, which is 2,000, right? You subtract $12.50 from 50, that gives you $37.50. So now your rate dropped from 50 to $37.50. Now you pay your tech out of that $37.50, that comes down to $17.50. Your tech is making more than the shop. See where I'm going? We're going in the hole, right? Now, off of that $17.50, you got to pay taxes, right? So $17.50 times taxes, which is 33%, right? That's the taxes. And probably somebody's going to say, they ain't no way in hell you paying 33%. If you paying 33%, then you got a badass tax person. No, they tell you to accommodate 33%. Now, it might be less when you do your taxes, but you need at least 33%. 33% from $17.50 is $5.77. You take this $5.77 and you put it in this tax jar. Okay? That's your 33%, right? You don't touch it. Now, you subtract $5.77 from $17.50. Now the shop rate is down to $11.75. That's where you're at, $11.75. But you said our shop rate was $50. No, it's $11.75 because after the bill has to be paid, this is what the shop has made at the end of the day, plus or minus. And this is not entirely guaranteed. This is just plus or minus. I mean, you could have shit that breaks. I mean, you could have air compressor that goes out. You can have tools that can go out and all that stuff. I'm going to show you something on that in a minute that I know a bunch of people do, and I didn't add it in there, but I'm going to show it to you. So you at 1175, okay? All right. Now, the tech made a 160. Well, guess what? They got to pay taxes on that 160. Might as well just say 33%, all right? 33% of 160, that tax money, if you're going to 1099 them, where they're going to take out their own taxes, so you can't say I made $160 a day because I'm going to 1099 you at the end of the year and say that I paid you X amount of money. You're going to be responsible to pay those taxes. So 33% from 160, you take that money out and you put it in your tax jar. And you save that until the end of the year, all right? So what's 33% of 160? Somebody drop it down in the comments for me so I don't have to change the screen. And tell me what that is. Somebody, please. What's 33% of 160? Somebody gonna help me out? I'm Australian. All right, hold on a second. I'll do it. Hold on a second. Hold tight. What's 33% of 160? Is it 48 or is it 48 or 53? Which one is it? All right, 5280. All right, appreciate that. So 5280 is taxes. So you subtract 5280 from 160. So 5280 goes in your tax jar. So you got 5280 at the end of that's your taxes in your jar. So 5280 from 160 is what? 5280. What is that? 10720. Ain't that what that is? 107. Yeah, ain't that 10720? Yeah, so 10720. So the tech made $107.20 for 8 hours. All right? So 8 divided into 107.20 is 1340. So the tech makes $13.40 an hour. Is that right? Somebody double check me. So 5280 from 160 is 107.20. 8 hours divided into 107.20 comes up to be $13.40 an hour. Ain't that right? So that means 1340 from 20 is what? 1340 from 20 is, what is that? $6.60. So that means $6.60 of every hour that tech works, he has to take and put into his personal tax jar. So the tech only made $13.40. Appreciate that, Oscar. Yep, $6.60. So that means the tech is working for $13.40. Now these are just numbers. $13.40 doing this type of work, doing that work, doing body work, doing this, doing that. Why in the hell would somebody want to make $13.40 doing this when I can go up here to Chick-fil-A and make chicken biscuits for $20 an hour, and then whatever chicken biscuits is left over, I can take them home and eat chicken for the next 2 days? So, does that make sense to everybody? Now, these numbers are not accurate numbers on rates and shop rates and stuff like that. This is just to show somebody when they say, what do you charge? Well, I'm $50 an hour. Well, what's your shop make? Well, I make $50 an hour. What's your shop make? $50 an hour. So you charging $100 an hour. No, it's $50 an hour. Well, then you're not making no money. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I mean, businesses make profits. I mean, that's profits lead to dividends, and dividends lead to making a profit and making a living. I mean, so if you look at all this, the shop made $11.75 a day off of a tech. Made $11.50. They're making $11.75 an hour. So that means if the shop, if it every 10 hours is $117.50 that the shop made that day after the bill was paid. You see that? So if something happens or something breaks, Walmart, they mark their stuff up. This is how, when people say, oh, you're charging too much, you're charging too much, you're charging too much. So if you go get your lawnmower and your weed eater worked on up here at the lawnmower shop, they charge $125 an hour, minimum 1 hour. It doesn't matter if they change the spark plug in your lawnmower, it's $125 in labor. My pole saw was messed up, and I took it to the guy because, no, I take that back. Well, it was, but they fixed that. My pressure washer backfired, and I knew what it did. It blowed the little diaphragm out in the carburetor, and it wouldn't crank. So I took it to the small engine repair shop, and I said, hey, man, just tell me what's wrong with it and fix it, whatever. He calls me back, and he tells me that, hey, this is what's wrong, blah, 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 whatever, and we went ahead and serviced it, and you said go ahead and do whatever it needed. So they changed the plug, they changed the oil, the filter, and they fixed it, and the bill was like $275. And so it was $300 to fix the pressure washer. But it's a $1,000 pressure washer. If the pressure washer would have been less than $300, I wouldn't have fixed it. You see what I'm saying? So they charge $125 an hour for 1 hour minimum. It doesn't matter if it changes the spark plug or changes the oil. It doesn't matter. It's $125 1 hour minimum. So you're going to spend $125 before you even drop. The Harley Davidson shop is $150 an hour. So I hope this helps somebody out, and I know this is not very exciting like this, but you can't have all the good and not have the bad, right? So here's the next thing, okay? Liquid materials, okay? Good explanation. My rate just went up to $200. Look, I'm at 85. I'm at $85 an hour. That's where I'm at, plus materials. So it's $85 an hour plus materials. And that's my rate, Now, that's just in the shop. Now, we're not talking about in the booth. We're talking about in here. So now we're going to go to the booth, and I'm going to explain that. All right? So here is the booth life, okay? Just right here. All right? This is booth life, right? So let's say I'm in the shop. Let's say same concept, right? Same hours, same everything, right? So this is shop rate. The booth rate is the same thing in this scenario. $50 an hour, same concept, plus materials, right? Plus your consumables. Well, you can't do consumables like this because consumables are through the roof, right? So you have to call like every couple of days to get the updated prices because these are just numbers, right? This is not the prices of nothing. This is nothing. This is why I call and get prices on stuff, and I try to keep stuff in stock so I don't have to wait because my paint store is about an hour and a half away. So they'll deliver twice a week, but I try to keep the most part of stuff that I use in stock. So, but I have to call weekly to get updated prices, because if I buy a gallon of epoxy, on February 1st and it costs me $100 for a gallon, right? And $100 a gallon. Well, there's 128 ounces in a gallon, right? Ain't that right? So it's 128 ounces in a gallon, right? So you say 128 ounces divided by 100 comes up to be $1.28 an ounce. All right, let's just say the hardener is $100 a gallon. Same thing, $1.28 an ounce. Let's say the reducer is $100 a gallon, 128 ounces. That's $1.28 per ounce, okay? So if you use 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. So basically that's $3.69, $3.90 roughly for 1 ounce of each. So now let's look at it like this, okay? Let's say this epoxy mix is 2 to 1 to 1. All right, I put 10 ounces of epoxy in my mixing cup. I put 5 ounces of hardener in my mixing cup. I put 5 ounces of reducer in my mixing cup. So 10 ounces times 128 is $12.80. 5 ounces times 128 is $6.40. 5 ounces of reducer, $6.40. All that adds up to $25.60, right? Now, they say that you mark up your materials 30%. Okay, this is what PPG says, and consumables, whatever, it's 30%, right? 30%, all right? So this is the markup, anywhere from 20 to 30%. We're just going to say 30% for this purpose, right? So 30% of $25.60 is $7.68. All right. Again, this is just for educational purposes. I don't know if these numbers are what. I'm just trying to show you for entertainment purposes. So $7.68 is 30% of $25.60. $7.68 plus $25.60 is $33.28. Well, you're going to have to pay taxes on that because they're not going to give it to you tax-free. So 7% of $33.28 is $2.32. All right? You got $35.60 in liquid materials, okay? Now, your PPS liner cups. I just looked them up so I could know how many was in a box. A box of 3M PPS cups is $138 on Amazon. I ain't even got them here. $138 on Amazon. 138 divided by 50. There's 50 liners in a box. That comes up to be $2.76 each. You got to add the liner because you got to have the liner to put in your spray gun to spray. So $2.76 to $35.60 is $2.76. You just spent $38.36 and you ain't even walked out the paint booth yet. You ain't even walked in to the paint room. You ain't even walked into the paint booth. You in the mixing room. You got $38.36 in material just sitting on the table. Now, you got to figure your time in mixing all this up. It shouldn't take you long to mix this up if you do it a lot. So let's just say we'll give it, 15 minutes, right? So 15 minutes of labor, right, to mix all this stuff up, all right? Now, you also have your consumables, the stuff to clean your paint gun, your thinner, your gun cleaner, your rags, all that. You have all that stuff too. So you have to add all that on there too. So there is CC1 software that you can get, but it's more for y'all hold on a second. Y'all hold on a second. I just heard something. Hold on. I don't know what that was. All right. So, there you are, Brian. So, you got 15 minutes in labor, so you have to add that. Well, what's paint booth time? All right, so the CC1 software is just for insurance work, right? And insurance work, you can key all this stuff in, and then they give you what they will cover in labor, or I mean, in materials, but they're so outdated that what they allow for materials won't even cover materials. And I'm talking won't even cover shop line materials because the stuff is so expensive. So you got 15 minutes in labor to mix this, right? So the labor rate for the booth is the same thing. It's $50. This is just for example, $50 an hour. So that's how the insurance work does too. So they'll say body work labor, $50. Paint time, $50. Consumable liquid materials, $50. And that don't look too bad. But if they actually put that it was $150 an hour shop rate, you would freak out and go, man, I'm not paying that shit. I'm going somewhere else. But that's how they get you. They break it down like that. So that's where it's broke down like this. But this is just numbers. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day, and he said, now he's not 45 minutes from me, and he said that he's getting $68 an hour for labor, for insurance work. He's getting $68 an hour for paint time, and he's getting $59 an hour for materials. And he said that ain't even covering materials. Okay? So let's get back to this. So we got 15 minutes mixing this material up, okay? And you also got all your other consumables. Your paper, your wax and grease remover, you got all that. So that's that. So we got $38 in liquid materials, right? Now we're gonna go in the booth and we're gonna get these fenders ready and we're gonna spray them, right? So you gotta wipe them down, wax and grease remover, everything that you touch, there you go, okay? If you're using it and you can't get it back, you have to charge for it. All right, let's say you're in the booth and you're in the booth for 1 hour spraying, right? You're in the booth for 1 hour. That's $50, right? Now you got to get your consumables, right? That's times 30%. So 30% of 50, whatever that number is, that's your consumables. All your stuff that you used, right? Your liquid, everything that you used. Wax and grease remover, tack cloth, everything, 30%. These are just numbers, 30%, all right? So 30% of $50 is what? My brain. What is 30% of 50? $16.50. $15. Is it $15 or $16.50? Which one is it? It's $16.50. So plus, so that's $60.50 plus the $38, 36 cents. So you got 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got $104.86 plus the 15 minutes for labor on that. You add that to that. So your bill for the booth, I know I got a lot of shit, I'm running out of room, was $104.86 plus your $400. Oh, yeah, it's fine, man. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I appreciate it. I did it in my head, too. That's why I was asking if it was right. I didn't know if I was right and you was wrong or you was wrong and I was right. I didn't know. So if you worked an 8-hour day, if somebody worked an 8-hour day and that's where they was at, And at the end of the day, the bill was $520 plus the 104.86. So that's $624.86 is the bill. So did that, I know it was a lot. I know it was a lot. But did that help you out? I did this video just for you, big dog, just for you. I did this video just for you. Now, I don't know what your shop rate is. I don't know what you're paying for materials. I don't know any of that. I don't know. And you also got to pay tax. In North Carolina, you got to pay tax on labor rate. So that's something else too. If you're not paying taxes on labor rate, so if your shop rate, labor rate's $50 an hour, you got to pay 7 cents now, 7 cents on that. So I'm going to set this phone down because I've been holding that son of a gun for 40 minutes. So that's just to kind of put it in perspective when somebody says, well, I charge $50 an hour. Okay. You're not making $50 an hour. The bill has to be paid. Now, I was shown this back in 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. So, excuse me, I'm hungry. I'm sure these numbers is just what I had in my head from what I was explained. You know, $50 because that's an even number. But if you're paying out, it's just like everything else. If you're paying out more than you're making, you're going in the hole. You take eggs as currency. That's hilarious. That's funny. I was talking about getting more chickens this morning. Talking to a buddy of mine about getting some more chickens. They was fighting at the Walmart today over eggs. I ain't fighting over eggs. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. They better do like the military and buy powdered eggs and add water and eat them. Yeah, I'm not fighting over eggs. Oh, I got eggs. I got chickens. So I hadn't bought store eggs in decades. So I did just order some new chickens. And I don't order biddies because if you order biddies, it takes forever. It takes forever to get an egg. Oh yeah, Woody, they've gone crazy. Not to get off the subject, but a buddy told me, I told him I was looking for some more chickens, and he said, man, they're going for like $45, $50 a piece at the sale. The chickens I want lay like 360 eggs a year. Watch out for that poison oak, that poison ivy, and them holly bushes. Yeah, man. Panic is what creates chaos. Panic. Yeah. The internet creates chaos. Somebody can post on the internet, oh my God, there's an egg shortage. Oh my God, there's an egg shortage. Or there's no toilet paper. And everybody runs and buys toilet paper. And stacks it up to the ceiling. Then you see it on Marketplace for sale for like 100 times more than it was worth. Yeah. Yeah, craziness. I will say this. If anybody has ever eat MREs, if anybody's ever eat MREs, you know it comes with a pack of toilet paper, right? In the pack, and I'm gonna show y'all something. That my lieutenant showed me 35, well, long time ago. Then we're gonna talk about that pavement stuff on the wall. So Brian, do you got any questions before we get any more down the rabbit hole? Brian, you got any more? Anybody got any more questions about that? The bill has to be paid. Did something? I tried to explain it as simple as possible. Keep it simple. You know what I mean? Notebooks. Here's another thing. I know some people frown on it, and there's probably people be going watching this video, and things like, oh, that's not very good note keeping and whatever, or a journal, keep a notebook, anything like that. Get you a notebook and just write down your daily journal, right? I even tell my students, we make students at the college to keep a journal. And they have to keep a journal, and they have to do entries in it every time. And then they turn in that notebook at the end of the semester of a journal. And then if they turn in a notebook and it looks like they halfway-ass done something, then they get extra credit for turning in a journal. If they don't turn in a journal, then they get penalized. It's just trying to show a little bit of responsibility. We all can do better. Even me, we can all do better, right? And nobody can remember everything. There's no way. There is no way that you can remember everything. I mean, if something happened 4 years ago and somebody says, hey, you remember this? And like, no, man, you know how much shit that I do you know how much shit I do on a daily basis? You're going to have to refresh me. And then when they tell you something like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, now I recall, blah, 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 stuff like that. So go to Walmart, get you some 99-cent notebooks, and just whatever you're working on, just keep you a daily journal. You can keep one journal. I remember when I was in the crib. Okay. Okie dokie. So, well, that's impressive. So, Brian, go to Walmart, go somewhere, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, whatever, Family Dollar, where get you some notebooks, get you some pens, and keep you a notebook. And in that notebook, just write you a journal, just everything, man. Just write it down like a diary. I hate to say it, but just a diary. Write how you was feeling, what was going on today, what kind of mood you was in, what kind of music you was listening to, what the weather was like. You had a case of the shits that day. You was, whatever. Just write it down. Just write it down on paper. Just write it down. If you had a phone call and the phone call went sideways and somebody was acting stupid, just write it in the journal. Just write it in the notebook. Just write it. So when I go in the paint booth, I keep a journal. I keep a journal on what music I was listening to, what the temperature was, what my gun setting was, how much pressure I was spraying. I keep all that. I write all of it down. Just so if something happens, I can come back and say, oh, this is what I was doing today. This is the gun that I used. This is the product that I used. This is what I was spraying. This is what the temperature was, blah, blah, blah. And then it can recall in my brain on what happened or what didn't happen and how I can, try to attack that situation if something comes up. That's all it is. And some people's probably going to say, well, that's not very professional to keep a notebook. Why? Why is it not? I mean, it's just a journal. Keeping notes. That's all it is. But back to the toilet paper. So if anybody remembers the MREs, you had that little pack of toilet paper in there, right? It's just a napkin. Here, let me get another one. So y'all know in the MREs, you had those little, oh yeah, it don't matter. Yeah, JG, it don't matter. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care how people feel about me. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, it don't matter. It don't matter. Don't matter. People gonna hate you. People gonna like you. You ain't gonna make everybody happy. Everybody's not gonna agree with you. And everybody ain't your friend. And that's okay. And if you can come to terms with that, then it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Now, talk about toilet paper. If anybody's had MRE, I don't think you're cool, and I don't care. I see how you are. You took that the wrong way. So anybody had the privilege of eating MREs forever and a day, or C rations or anything like that? You got these little pieces of toilet paper. You got these little packs of toilet paper in there that's wrapped in brown paper, right? So I'll never forget it. There were some people that never been experienced to. Tulu TV might get this. There were some people when I was in the military and we was doing cold weather training and stuff like that. There were some people that when they opened the MREs, they got little packs of toilet paper, and then you got the coffee creamers you can make cookies out of, and you could burn them. That's a whole nother story. And then stuff like that. But anyway, we're talking about the toilet paper. We're going to get to some fun stuff. So this one guy, he said, man, what is this? You know, you open up the toilet paper, it's just a little bit of toilet paper, little squares. This one guy says, man, this ain't enough toilet paper. And I was like, what are you saying? He's like, man, this is all the toilet paper they give you in one of these packs. I was like, yeah, man, that's all they give you. And the lieutenant walked by, and the guy said, LT, this is crazy. This is all the toilet paper that's in that pack? And he said, yeah, that's it. And he's like, man, this ain't enough to do anything, man. He said, oh, man, it's plenty. It's plenty of paper. He's like, how you figure? He said, man, that's plenty of paper. He said, let me show you. Hand me your paper. So he got his paper and handed it to him. Lieutenant reached in his pocket, and he had like an Army Swiss Army knife or whatever, had a pair of scissors on it, right? So he took the scissors out. He took the piece of paper. He took the toilet paper, and this is what he did. He took and he cut. Now, this is a little over dramatic, but he went right here in the center. What's up, 84? He went right there to the center of the toilet paper, and he cut a triangle. He said, now you can't. Where'd everybody go? Where'd everybody get to? What happened? The clock's still running. I don't see nobody. I didn't see nothing. What happened? Did y'all hear the story? Only thing I seen, roll call. The military didn't want those secrets out. Did y'all see all that part? Because the clock's still running on my end. It never froze on my end. Did y'all see that, or I need to do that again? Y'all done missed the punchline. The military didn't want those secrets out. You zapped out. Okay, so you want me to do it over? I'll do it over. All right, so I'll do it over so everybody's complaining about toilet paper. Do it again. Everybody's complaining about toilet paper. So when we was doing cold weather training and stuff like that, there was a guy that said, opened up the MRE, and there was a little square of toilet paper in there wrapped in some brown paper. And he's like, what is that for? And I said, that's toilet paper, man. So you go to the head. He goes, man, that's not enough toilet paper to do anything. He said, what? I said, that's enough toilet paper to do anything. So the lieutenant reached in his pocket and pulled out his little Army Swiss Army knife and had a little pair of scissors in there, and he cut a square. He cut a triangle in it, and he took, we're going to try it again, 84, had these little pieces of paper, right? These little triangle pieces. He said, you see that? And he said, yeah. He said, you open this up, and you see that hole in the piece of the paper? And he said, yeah. He said, that's all you need to wipe your butt. They're going to get me again. He says, how you figure? He said, that's all you need to wipe your butt. He said, I don't know why he said, that's all you need. He said, Lieutenant, I don't see how that's enough to wipe my butt. He said, your butthole ain't but about that big. He said, see, that toilet paper cover your butthole just fine. He said, I still don't understand. He said, no, I'm going to show you. He said, what's the hole for? He said, that hole is where you take your finger and you slide your finger up into the toilet paper like that to your knuckle, right? Right? He said, yeah. He said, when you get done doing your business, you take your finger and you stick it up your butt. The boy looked and said, do what? He said, you stick it up your butt and you turn it. And then when you come out, your finger gonna look like a soft serve ice cream from Wendy's. You take the toilet paper and you fold it over like that and you twist it and you clean all the poop off the end of your finger. He says, and these little small pieces, that's for cleaning the shit off from underneath your fingernails. Now quit bitching and get to digging that hole and stop worrying about toilet paper. Did y'all get it that time? Where's Drill Sergeant Cuddy when we need him? Hey, man, if you was in the military, you know all about it. If you wasn't ever in the military, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. If you don't know anything about that life, you won't understand. So it is what it is. So, but man, you would have been a great drill. I could do it. Hey man, I was in a special group. We only had like 10 of us in the group. We was in red jackets. And that's a whole nother conversation. Probably not for social media. That's a whole different outlet. So, man, we used to go in and, man, we would go in. Here's something cool. I don't know if y'all ever had any experience. I don't know if y'all did. If y'all did, let me know. But we were on a special team, red jacket team. Our jackets were red. Not jackets, but like our jackets was red. And at night, we would go to other barracks and we would sneak in the barracks and do ops training. And we would sneak in and catch the fire watch asleep and stuff like that. And then we had lipstick, right? And people would be asleep and we'd go in there with lipstick. And they'd be laying in a rack asleep, just sucking boogers, just. And we would take the red lipstick and we would draw red marks on their throats. And we would try to breach the barracks undetected, go in there and do that. And then the next morning, before reveille, before roll call, the drill sergeants would go to the barracks and we would be there and they would come in and they'd start beating trash cans and stuff, and everybody be jumping up and be standing up in the barracks, and everybody be standing there all this right here in their tidy whities. They'd be standing there, and the drill sergeant would be like, rah, 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 just barking, just whatever. And then the drill sergeant will walk down and turn around and walk back, and then you had like RPOC, like the team leader or something. You had different team leaders, but then you had, I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that, Ray. So people would be, shit paper blew away. People in the barracks would be standing there in their t-shirts. They'll be in their t-shirts, in their underwear, or their skivvies, or whatever tidy whities, whatever you want to call it, and they'd be looking at their they'd be looking at their shipmate or their brother in arms sitting across from them, and they would have red marks on their throats. We'd have red lipstick. And the drill sergeant would, he would just be letting them know. He's like, just talking. He says, do y'all see anything wrong? Did anybody see, how'd y'all sleep last night? Did y'all sleep good? Blah, 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 whatever. And people would be looking, and the drill sergeant said, everybody that don't look the same, step forward. One step forward. And everybody's looking. And there was like 80-some people in this barracks, right? And we got like 15 of them. even including the two people that was on fire watch, the one at aft and at port. We got both of them, and everybody, like 15 people that was sleeping. So you got like 17 people that's got red lipstick on their throat. And the drill sergeant said, Petty Officer Basso, I'll never forget, little bitty Jamaican man, super from Barbados. We don't want to talk about Barbados. And he says, everybody don't look the same step, take one step forward. And everybody's looking at everybody, and he's like, man, you got something on you. And he's like, what? And he looked down, he's like, dude, you got something on your neck. And then, people would stand forward. So you got all these people standing forward, and then the drill sergeant's going, and Petty Officer Basso, he was like, cussing. I'm not going to get into no profanity on here, but he would be just like, no, he said, just look at everybody around you. Just look. You see, you are no longer here. You are non-existent. I'm not going to say no keywords. I don't want to get flagged on YouTube. But that was pretty much taken out. Tag you it, right? And Petty Officer Basso says, what happened? And everybody's like, we don't know. And they said, every one of you guys, this barracks got breached last night by the enemy, and 17 of your shipmates or your brothers in arms is no longer with us. The enemy snuck in, took out the fire watch and 15 of your brothers or 15 of your brothers. 6'2" Big One. What's up, man? You new to the channel. I ain't never seen you before, man. Hit that subscribe button. So, 84 Cuddy, Thule, did y'all ever do anything like that? And when did y'all ever do anything like that? So, we did that a lot. We would sneak in the barracks and take people out. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, that's our Australian bro, Cuddy Thule. That 6'2" Big One. Well, hey, man. Yeah, man. That's interesting because I was in a special group, and there was only like 10 or 12 of us that was in this group. We did blanket parties for the ones. Yeah, see, I've heard of those, other ones, but we didn't really have any issues other than Cupola, but that was before I moved over to special teams. So when I moved over to special teams, that was a completely different dialect. That's about all I'm gonna say. That was completely different altogether, like different camaraderie, different fellowship, different brotherhood. I mean, I'm in a group chat right now with 5 of those. So there's 5 of us in a group chat. And this group chat text message, we've been in this same group chat for like 7 or 8 years. I have to go in there and swipe and delete it. And there's 5 of us, including myself. So there's 4 of them and 1 of me, so that's 5, that we still stay in contact with each other. And it's been years. But it's a different completely brotherhood of that. But yeah, we done a lot of that. Man, we did water training one time, man, when we jumped off this platform in the dark into this Olympic-sized swimming pool and had all of our gear on and stuff, and jumped into this pool, and had to take off our pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them, and had to turn our pants into floating devices. So basically you have to take, you take your boots off, you tie a string around your boot, you tie your boots together, then you have to attach your boots to your pack so you don't lose your pack. Then, y'all do that too? Take your trousers, take your pants or trousers off, or your BDUs, whatever you want to call them, and then tie them up at the bottom, and then flip them up, fill them up with air, and turn them into, I cut open the first 2 filters on oil change and shit. What's up, Matt? Yeah. Hold on a second. I missed something. What happened? Hold on, I missed something. See, we didn't have Tulip. We didn't have flags. I mean, we didn't have stuff like that. So different things had different things. Hold on a second. I cut up the first two oil filters on an oil chain and checked. You talking to me, Southern Square Body, or are you talking to somebody else? Who's that to me? Wrong person. My bad. I was asking something. Hold on a second. I'm confused. What in the hell happened here? Do you ever get oil analyzed? No. I mean, I just look it for stripper glitter, but I mean, it's going to have some type of. As long as it don't have chunks in it, I mean, it's going to have like stripper glitter in it. I mean, that's. We would take the other company's flags, fill it with air. Yeah, look. Yeah, I got another one. So, yeah, this one right here. I figured I'd wear green and green today. I don't even know what. This one. Yeah, this is a different one. And what's up, Anonymous? These hats were actually gifted to me by a subscriber. I actually got several of them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I got 5 or 6. I got this one. I got the pinky black one. Yeah, that's in my logo too. See, I drew this logo. So here's my logo. I don't know if anybody ever noticed this, but it's JG, and then you see the car. See the roof line? That's the front, the hood, the roof line, and then this is like the trim down the side, the body line. So my logo is actually a car. All right, so yeah, here's another one. Yeah, so here's another one. So when I paint stuff, I actually put my logo on there, and then there's a spray can, there's a paint gun on the end of it, and then got J, and then the car logo. So all this is airbrushed and doing like that. Yep, yeah, sort of like a 63 Vet. So, and then this means this was painted by whatever, and then here it is cut out on that. So, but yeah. So anybody got any? Yeah, here it is. Here is a better picture, right here. So you got my initials, and then you got the. Okay. So that's where we had the forever hunt. That's where we had the speed hunt. I'd like to do a car show, like a cruise in. I'd like to do a cruise in, open to all, and raise money for my boys' scholarship. But I'd have to find out somewhere to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then, but does anybody have any? I got to clean the shop up again today. Does anybody have any questions on what I went over earlier? I don't know anything. I don't know any. All right, so here, let me tell you about TKM. TKM don't give out any of their specs on their engine builds. They just, like, it's a stroker, and that's pretty much it. And me knowing that the intake valve is 2.25 or 2.5. The reason why I know that is because I was there the day they were cutting it. And I think I have a picture of it on my Facebook page. I'll have to go look and see, and if I do, I'll put it in a community post. Well, it's not called community post no more. But if I have that video, I will post that in the post, because I took a Red Bull can like this. I was up there that day, and I said, good God Almighty, look at that intake, the port for the intake valve. A can like this fit right into it. The LS valves already, that or titanium, I don't know. See, TKM don't, I don't know. I know it's all billet. I know it's all billet. I know it's all billet. I do know. That's all I know. I don't know. Like I said, they don't. I know how much the engine cost. I know how much it was cost to build it. I know that. The cam specs, I do not know. I just know it's a big stick. It's their custom grind big stick. That's all I know. I don't know anything else because TKM keeps that stuff pretty tight, pretty top lip. Now, if he took this engine somewhere and they tore it down, they could look at it and they could spec it or whatever. But it will, hopefully nothing happens. But if it does, it'll go back to TKM. So, but anyways, yeah. Anybody got any questions on the bill has to be paid? Been on here for about 72 minutes. I told Brian I would do it. I really appreciate everybody that's on here. Where is he at? Brian Judge, he asked about it the other night, and I told him I'd do it. I didn't do it yesterday because I got everything was crazy with this engine and stuff like that, and then I think it's pretty good. We cranked it up a bunch yesterday. I'm not going to crank it up today. I thought the owner was coming, the client was coming, but I hadn't heard nothing from him, so he might have changed his mind. Maybe the video I sent him yesterday, maybe that was sufficient. I don't know. He lives pretty good ways away, so it'd be about a 4-hour ride for him to get here. So, but it's supposed to be a pretty week this week. It's supposed to be a pretty week this week. Tomorrow is supposed to be like 65, 67. Tuesday is supposed to be close to 70. Wednesday is supposed to be in the 70s. And I think Thursday it's supposed to break back off, and then it's supposed to rain this weekend. So 84 Cuddy, square body. I know you probably going to, but 84 Cuddy and Tulu TV and 87 SS Boy. I don't know if you've got out of the snow yet, but if those 3 days are warm, man, I hope to see some content. Y'all put out some content. Yeah, it's supposed to, man, it's supposed to be nice. And I'm gonna spray some primer. So I'm gonna give y'all some content on spraying epoxy on those fenders that I blocked out, which is those right there, and the hood. I'm gonna try to do the hood too. But I definitely got to clean the shop up. I definitely got to do some housekeeping before it gets too late today. I can't stand it. Everything was crazy yesterday. It was chaotic, stuff scattered everywhere. I need to burn some trash in the wood stove. I'm going to get the Impala off the lift, the 63 Impala off the lift. And I'm going to double check the brakes before I get it off. And then I'm going to pull it in here and I'm going to start tinkering on it. I have to find the fuse for the OnStar in my Trailblazer SS and unplug the OnStar module, because I think since it's in the garage and it's a metal building, the OnStar is trying to find a signal and it's killing the battery like in 3 days. I can leave it in the driveway for 3 weeks and the battery won't die, but I pull it in the garage and in 2-3 days the battery's dead. So I was reading on some blogs late last night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they said that the OnStar module will try to find a signal, and since it's a metal roof, it can't get out, and it eventually kills the battery. So, I'm definitely going to try. I hope you do, buddy. I hope you do, because get some new stuff. I'm going to do a video on installing the line lock on this Nova. So, hey, Southern. I don't know if I followed you or subscribed to your channel, but I am today when I get off here. Hey, when you do that, man, tag me. Are you going to go live or are you just going to do a video? Yeah, Tulu, you need to be outside too. I'm getting cut. I'm been cutting wood this week. I'm ready. I'm getting bored. Hey man, people get seasonal depression. People don't really realize that, but seasonal depression, a video. Hey, if you don't mind, will you tag me in the description in that video so it pops up so I get a notification so I can watch it? Cause just to see how somebody else does it, get a different perspective of it. Well, I can't do a trans brake on this because it's a manual. I think trans brake is just a transmission brake is for an automatic. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Yeah, tag me in it, please, so I get a notification so I don't miss it, and so I can watch it, so I can get a different perspective and get some ideas. You know, collaborate, see what to do, what not to do. Still learning this YouTube stuff. Hey man, there's some guys called HHS Boys, right? I built a truck for him, you know, a K5 short bed. I didn't do the engine, I just did the paint and body and the line X'd it and all that stuff. He ordered a carburetor for it the other day. The carburetor's on, it's leaking, so I told him he needed like a 600 or 650 because it's just a basic whatever. Clutch is a trans brake. Okay, I didn't know that. I'll have to research that. I don't know, but I know he wants to put a line lock on it because Southern Square Body mentioned that the other night. Am I going to put line lock on it to lock the front brakes? And it's kind of funny because the client did ask me about putting a line lock on it. So it'd be nice to see what he uses because it's all Wilward stuff, and I have to bleed I haven't even finished bleeding. I haven't even finished hooking up the lines. So I won't be losing nothing because so I'd be interested to see what he's got. And back to that YouTube stuff, Square Body, is HHS Boys. If you boys and girls like thermal hunting with coyotes and stuff, there's a short video that, yes, JG, yes. So it's HHS Boys, and they do a lot of thermal hunting at night for coyotes. I know them, and they have a YouTube channel, and they jumped up like 5,000-6,000 subscribers like in no time, right? So the other night I was showing him, he's like, man, we missing comments and stuff. And I'm like, well, let me show you. So I showed him on my phone, you know, because they got the YouTube Studio. So Southern Square Body, do you have YouTube Studio and YouTube app? Because if you got YouTube Studio, you can hit community, and it shows you everybody that's posted or everybody that's commented on your post. Also, you can hit replies with new replies, and and it shows you all of your comments that you've missed and new replies. Then you need to download YouTube Studio. You need to download YouTube Studio because that is where the accurate numbers are. Like your watch hours, it shows you your algorithm, it shows you when people are watching you, what time they're watching you, when the peak hours are, when the not peak hours are. It shows you all the analytics. It shows you what. So this is the crazy part. I got like 19,000 return viewers every day. 19,000 come back and watch me every single day. But only 24% of them has subscribed to the channel. But 18,000 plus come back every day and watch. It shows you that. It says like 68% of people that watch my channel ain't even subscribed. And I don't understand. If you go to a man's channel and you watch that channel 3 times, then you need to hit the subscribe button. See you, 6'2". I appreciate you. So you need to hit that subscribe button. So Southern Square Body, it actually shows you all this, right? So you think about it. If you go and you watch somebody's channel and then you go back and watch it again and then you go back and watch it again, why don't you hit the subscribe button? It's free. It don't cost a dime. Just hit that son of a gun and give them numbers out. So you think of all the people that watch other people's channels that don't subscribe, but they just keep going back every time and watching it. Just imagine if 19,000 people would hit the subscribe button, I'd be up to like I'd be up to like 25, 26,000 subscribers. And what's the harm in that? I mean, that's for everybody's channel. I bet you 84 Cuddy's like that. I bet Tulu TV's like that. I know that Build on the Budgets is like that because he's talked to me before. He's like, I don't understand. My finger is tired. So that's that. But yeah, Square Body, you need to download that because you can see all of that information on there. And you can comment, that's how I get all my comments. So when I downloaded YouTube Studio, I sat down for hours and went back and answered questions that people posted a year ago. I got one video, I know you did, JG, and I appreciate it. I got one video, me changing the thermostat and water temperature sensor in my 2015 Silverado, 2015 Silverado. It's like 150,000 views. And then I got another one where that Russian helicopter was landing here at El Dorado. I videoed that, and it's like 1 million. And everybody kept saying it was fake, it was fake. Man, I was standing in the damn field when it landed. They was doing ops. It was from Bragg, but that's a whole nother story. But the other day, I posted that video of me soldering that wire on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Here's the crazy thing. So I got a Facebook page too, and it's got like 12,000 subscribers or followers on it. I posted that video of me making that wire, that battery cable wire, and it hit 10,000 views, then it hit 20,000 views, and then just a couple hours after that, it hit 30,000 views, and then I checked back about an hour later, and it's up to like 40,000 views. A buddy just texted me earlier, and he's like, dude, that video is almost 50,000 views, and you just posted it like 2 days ago. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Facebook, I get more foot traffic on Facebook than I do YouTube, and I don't understand why. But like Tulu TV says, it all gets there when it gets there. I am late to the game on YouTube. I didn't post a lot on YouTube because I got discouraged because I had an Instagram account and I had like 150,000 subscribers, and that's where I would post. I'd post Facebook and I'd post Instagram. And I had like 150,000 subscribers, and I got hacked. And then I tried to prove that it was me. I mean, I had to show my driver's license, all that. And then Instagram come back and said that I didn't give them enough data to prove who I was. And I was like, dude, I'm standing here holding my driver's license and my address saying that it's me. And I never got my IG back. And I said, the hell with it. I just left it. But I had 150 some thousand subscribers on Instagram. So, but anyways, boys and girls, I want to see some content this week. I want my YouTube feed to be popped up with a lot of feeds, a lot of content, a lot of car stuff. Tulu TV, I want to see you out there working. 84 Cuddy, I want to see you out there working on Sparrow. And 87 SS Boy, I want to see you working on some stuff. And Square Body, I want you to tag me in that video, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate every single one of you. I'll be back tomorrow with something, whether it's wrong or right. We'll do it together. And I appreciate every single one of you. Hit that subscribe button if you ain't hit it already. I greatly appreciate it. It don't cost a dime. It's free. And here's another thing. Here's another thing. So I'll tell you this before I go. When I tell you go to somebody's channel and you watch something and you go back 3 or 4 times, hit that subscribe button. It's like this right here. If you borrow something from somebody, a tool, a trailer, or something, if you go to another man's house or garage and you borrow a wrench, you borrow a drill, you borrow his trailer, you borrow his weed eater, you borrow his lawnmower. If you borrow something that is not yours and you go back and borrow it more than 2 times, your ass need to buy it. You need to buy you one. You need to buy one. If you borrow something more than 2 times, you need to buy it. Remember what I said, boys and girls? Don't worry about the man up the road or down the road. Sweep off your own front porch while sweeping off anybody else's. Put God first, let loose and drag. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I'm out.